A female senator, Smokin' Joe Frazier, and Jeff Bezos are all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is January 12th, 2021. It is the second Tuesday of the year in the third week of this year. It is the 23rd day of winter. There's 67 days left until spring. Today is Kiss a Ginger Day. This is a day where we're all encouraged to go out and make out with redhead people. Just kidding. Kiss a Ginger Day by Derek Forgy in 2009 as a response to the holiday created in 2008 called Kick a Ginger Day. That's where this weird holiday, where it was kind of a joke holiday, obviously, but you're supposed to go kick a redhead person in the pants. I don't know. The observance comes from a Facebook group created by Forgy who only invited 8 redhead friends. Quickly, the idea spread, and January 12th became Kiss a Ginger Day. It is a popular non-official holiday. All right, let's see what else happened on January 12th. 1932, Hattie Carraway becomes the first woman elected to the United States Senate. Yeah, women hadn't even been voting that long, and she made it to senator. Good job, Hattie. 1942, World War II, the United States President Franklin D. Roosevelt creates the National War Labor Board. 1966, Lyndon B. Johnson states that the United States should stay in South Vietnam until the communist aggression there is ended. This turns into a bigger nightmare than he could have ever imagined. I was just reading this one thing because I saw an article about presidential approval ratings. Oddly enough, he has one of the highest on average approval ratings out of any president since they started keeping track of these back in Truman's day. 1969, the New York Jets of the American Football League defeat the Baltimore Colts of the National Football League to win Super Bowl III in what is considered to be one of the greatest upsets in sports history. 1976, the United States Security Council votes 11-1 to allow the Palestine Liberation Organization to participate in a Security Council debate, but they didn't have voting rights. They were just there to participate. 1991, the Persian Gulf War. An act of the U.S. Congress authorizes the use of American military forces to drive Iraq out of Kuwait. Now, not a lot of people realize this since it's been so many years. The U.S. had been sitting in that desert for about 6 months. In July of 1990 is when Iraq stormed across the border and basically ran over Kuwait and just did what they want. Took us a while to get all our people over there and all our equipment, so we'd been sitting there in the desert for 6 months, pretty much ready to go. Now, why did Iraq invade Kuwait? There was a bunch of reasons, but it kind of breaks down to this, and I'm really broad brushing it here. Iraq was in a tough financial situation after they'd had this long drawn out war with Iran, and they were hurting for money. So they started pointing fingers at their oil production and everything else like that. They claimed Kuwait was, one, putting out more barrels of oil than they were supposed to, which drove down the price of oil, which meant Iraq was losing up to I think they said $5 billion at one point. Then they decided that Kuwait was actually slant drilling, like they drill at an angle, so it's actually going into Iraq underground and getting Iraq's oil. So all these accusations were flying around. And then Iraq started demanding money. They demanded $10 billion for lost revenue. Kuwait's counteroffer was $500 million, and we'll call it good. Upon getting that information that they would only give them $500 million, Saddam Hussein gave the order to just invade Kuwait, and they did. That was on August 2nd, 1990. Now, we knew this was coming, and we'd been building up. We still weren't there yet, but time went on and on and on and on. Finally, in January, they said, go ahead. Horrible things were going on in Kuwait. Basically, they treated it like pirates would, or the Vikings did back in the day. They went into this country and they basically took anything of value that they could find, including people, and just kept trucking them back to Iraq. So we all knew all this was going on there, and a lot of people wanted to go in a lot earlier than we actually did. And everyone looks and says the politicians really drug their feet on this one. Anyway, it broke down to the United States is rolling over Iraq like they were a Pop Warner football team compared to a professional football team. One thing leads to another, and we find Saddam Hussein in a ditch and hang him. 2001, downtown Disney opens to the public as part of the Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, California. When this opened up, it was really neat. It's like an outdoor mall, but it was just so much more. It was like almost a family version of Vegas. It was just a really, really neat thing. It is still. I haven't been there probably in a decade, but it was pretty cool when it first opened. 2005, Deep Impact is launched from Cape Canaveral on a Delta II rocket. This was basically an unmanned spacecraft that was supposed to catch up with a comet and fly into it and kind of tell us what's going on in a comet. Because, I mean, we see them and we guess about them and we kind of know what they are, but they really wanted to know what is inside a comet. Is it all rocks or just ice? What's going on there? Anyway. 2006, a stampede during the stoning of the devil ritual on the last day of Hajj in Mina, Saudi Arabia. I know I pronounced those wrong, I'm sorry. Anyway, it kills at least 362 Muslim pilgrims. 2015, government raids kill 143 Boko Haram fighters in Cameroon. Now, this kind of sucks. Boko Haram is horrible, and they're terrorists, and they're connected with Al-Qaeda and ISIS and all these other things. They're just bad dudes. But killing 143 is kind of sad in a lot of ways. More than half of them are young kids that are forced into this thing as fighters. So, you know, these poor kids, they didn't want to be there. They were forced to fight, and then they get killed in a raid. But don't get me wrong, Boko Haram needs to go. They just need to do something about them stealing kids and forcing them to fight for them. Born on January 12th. Now this one's gonna blow you away because there's a lot of frickin' people that were born on January 12th, so buckle up. 1930, Tim Horton, Canadian ice hockey player and businessman. He is the founder of Tim Hortons. 1935, Kreskin. He's an American mentalist. 1944, Smokin' Joe Frazier, professional boxer. He was at the height of his career when he fought and won against Muhammad Ali back in the day. 1947, Tom Dempsey, American football player and educator. He was a place kicker. He had half a foot. He didn't kick the soccer style, which means you come in from the side and kick it like you're swinging a golf club. He'd walk straight up to it and kick like, you know, he's trying to punt almost. But he held the record for the longest field goal for 40 years. 1951, Kirstie Alley, American actress and producer. She was on Cheers forever. I had no idea she was that old. I thought she was maybe a couple years older than me. That's it. But she's quite older than I thought. Weird. 1954, Howard Stern is born. Everybody knows Howard Stern, American radio host, actor, and author. 1958, Christian Amanpour, English-born Iranian-American journalist. 1960, Dominique Wilkins, French-American basketball player and manager. 1964, Jeff Bezos, richest dude in the world. Actually, he was just surpassed by Elon Musk. That's kind of weird. 1974, Mel C, better known as Sporty Spice. Yeah, and that's not all of them. There's a lot of other big names that were born on this day. I'm just, kind of burnt out talking about them. Let's move on to people that died. 2003, we lost Maurice Gibb. He was one of the Bee Gees. I think there's only one of the Bee Gees left, but he died in 2003 from a twisted intestine that put him into cardiac arrest. He died at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles. Kind of sad. As I got older, I hated the Bee Gees when I was a kid, and then as I got older, I'm all, oh wow, these guys were actually really talented. It's weird, I don't listen to their music all the time, but when I hear it, I'm all, yeah, they're amazing singers. Anyway, moving on. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go forth, be productive, and be nice to each other.